This is to do with tax at source on foreign remittance through liberalized remittance scheme and some other sort of brackets, let's say selling of overseas tour packages as well as TCS on sale of goods over a certain limit. First, do you want to weigh in on this TCS on remittances through LRS?
Yeah, I think this is the first time to my mind ever since the liberalization of remittances that you will have an obligation on the authorized dealers to withhold tax. Again, the intent cannot be faulted, is again to establish an audit trail to collect a minimum revenue, that somebody who is spending so much money on foreign travel of more than 7 lakhs a year, there should be a deduction at source. The same point I made earlier, does it mean that that individual will have a tax liability of a certain amount because he has traveled? Again, that becomes an issue of set off and refund later on. So one is I think this is based perhaps on their analytics which they have done to say that many people undertake foreign travel but don't seem to pay taxes which is commensurate to their lifestyle. The second interesting, so one is on the authorized dealers. Now the obligation is on the authorized. The second interesting part there is this definition of tour package. I mean, in my view, it's getting complicated.
One question before,
because what is a tour package in today's context?
I have a question before you get to tour packages.
Yeah.
So the dealers or authorized dealers that we're talking about could be currency exchange people, could be investments in property, could be investments in
and the banks, the banks as well.
If that amount is over 7 lakhs, then that's where this TCS requirements then comes in, right?
The 5%, TCS comes in. And I was mentioning that where I see one practical difficulty is in one of the definitions used in that section on tour packages. I think the intent again is that if somebody is spending so much money on a foreign tour, then you deduct tax at source and so on. But I think it will complicate it for two reasons. One is that the way a tour package is defined, there are many different ways in which people travel today, and you may not have bought a tour package. You buy tickets separately, hotels separately. Unnecessary, it will lead to unnecessary sort of interpretation and litigation. So I'm not sure whether you need to define a tour package to come under this particular definition. The other very interesting one, and this kind of seems to, plain reading, again one has to wait and see for the rules which will get enunciated. But the second one on a plain reading is talking about a 0.5% TCS on the principal value. It's a very important point, on sale of all goods. At least that's my reading. There is no exception. There is nothing like certain categories. Yes, of course, above 50 lakhs turnover, etc. But on sale of all goods, which is sweeping, right? It covers every transaction in the economy for those large size players, and large size is fairly low threshold of 50 lakhs. Now, to my mind, again, it's a huge tax. It says that it has been bunched under tax avoidance measure.
Could you give us illustrations of some of the transactions that will now be subject to this TCS?
Any goods, any purchase of goods, right? Anything. Furniture, cars, whatever. It just covers all goods, which will attract, of course, a very nominal 0.5%. But all I'm trying to say is that the obligation on tax deduction and tax collection at source is increasing so much for businesses, the compliance. And the last point I would make there is, unfortunately, and I know the FM referred to it as a kind of evolving reform, is the prosecution provisions and the penalty provisions which are there for any inadvertent delays in depositing tax or in interpretation issues on what did you collect and not collect.